Hey, what's going on, Minnesota Vikings fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. I am Kyle Smith, accompanied, as always, by Kyle West.
Whoa, I got first bidden.
I tell you.
Saving the best for last, we also have Adam Carlson. What's up, man?
Oh, I'm far from the best. And it sounds like you called me babe, which I'll take that too.
Hey, you know what?
You got it, babe.
I'm happy. This week on episode,
I think you should introduce your dog, who was clearly behind you as well, too.
Yeah, he'll probably be making appearances throughout the show. Bronx says hi. I'm converting him to being a Vikings fan. From where
You're working on it. He's adopted, so you got a little work to do.
But I'm excited because on this week's episode, which is number 276, titled Wheelin and Thielen, we're going to talk a lot about Adam Thielen and the Vikings' victory over the Redskins yesterday. So it's a good week to talk about Viking football.
Why does my video look like I've got one of those Instagram filters on where I'm really like blurry?
Got like Vaseline all over the camera.
I was just going to say you're glowing, Adam.
Yeah, Kyle's all crisp and clean, and I look like a blurry mess. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Well, you're glowing from the Vikings' victory. Duh.
I tell you, nothing's going right these days.
That or you have jaundice and you should see a physician, but either one.
Oh, lots of love for Adam Thielen in the chat room already. We're going to talk a lot about Adam Thielen today, probably.
Can we tell his backstory like I do every single week for the past 2 years?
Yeah, before we start with the podcast, we're going to give you guys a complete Wikipedia rundown of Adam Thielen's history first. Did you know that he was undrafted?
I heard about a $500 scholarship. Is that true?
Whoa.
Yeah, something about a $500 scholarship, maybe.
This is where we get the zoom on our thing and we go, whoa!
Whoa. Like on Wayne's World. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Every week, it's like, I can't believe it. And then Mike Zimmer talks about it in the press conference. They're like, do you see guys giving him a lot of the respect that he deserves? He's like, no, they just kind of keep doing what they're doing.
I was listening to some sports show this morning, and we can get started on the quick hits. And they flat out called Adam Thielen the best wide receiver in the NFL that nobody in the mainstream media really talks about right now. And I agree with that statement.
Yeah, Pro Football Focus just released an article where they debated whether or not Thielen and Diggs, as you can call them if you combine them, is the top wide receiver duo in the NFL, and they make a very strong case for it to be true.
If it's not them, it would be Antonio Brown and Juju, whatever Smith. I forget.
Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, whatever. I can't remember it, but he's absolutely came in and dominated. But yeah, you're looking at elite duo, and we'll talk about that in the stats here in a little bit from this game. Because no offense to Case Keenum, because he had a freaking day yesterday as well. But we got our essentially third quarterback just chucking the ball, and these guys are just making plays left and right. So I can only imagine if Bradford were healthy, we'd be having the same, if not better, production too. Or Teddy, whenever we get a start from him, which we'll talk about that later. But
poor Case Keenum, he has a career game. Everyone is like, you had a career game, but man, just imagine if we had a better quarterback. Poor guy.
Case Keenum, you had another career day, most touchdowns ever in your career. How do you feel about your?
Can't wait to replace you.
How do you feel about Teddy Bridgewater possibly starting Sunday? What? Did you guys see I had a perfect passer rating through the first two quarters? Yeah, that's cool. You said you have a Teddy Bridgewater jersey. Is that correct?
He does. He might. He said he might.
I love it, man.
We should get going. Let's get going with the quick hits.
Let's get started. First quick hit of the day, tight end for the Panthers. Greg Olsen will join the broadcast booth for this coming up game Sunday when the Rams visit the Vikings. I find this interesting, and Mike Zimmer hit on it today in the Monday presser. He's like, I'll let the brass upstairs take care of that if need be, because we do play the Panthers later on this year, not too far from now, in about a month. And that could potentially be a little scouting job there from Greg Olsen. We'll see.
I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal at all, and I barely consider it noteworthy. But some people are loving it. So
yeah, I'm with Adam on this one. There was Brett Favre, someone interesting. Greg Olsen, not really too excited. about Greg Olsen. But,
Former Bears tight end Greg Olsen.
oh, boy.
We talked about this in our Purple Peel podcast chat between the three of us, and I think the correlation is how Tony Romo is fresh out of the league, even though Greg Olsen is just injured right now. He's not out of the league. On how Tony Romo's fresh out of the league, and he's doing all this crazy predictions right before plays happen, and he calls it right. So people are thinking, I think that was a kind of the correlation and connection there. They're like, oh, maybe Greg Olsen will tie it together. And then some genius out there says, don't the Vikings play the Panthers? Oh, my God. He could get intel on us. Like, yes, so could everybody else. You know that we watch film on other teams too, right? I don't know. But that's a quick hit about Greg Olsen, and this is a Vikings podcast because that's what we do.
Yeah.
We do what we can.
Hey, at least it wasn't a WWE quick hit, right?
That's coming. We'll get a Roman Reigns reference in.
You mean that Brock Lesnar is going to face AJ Styles at Survivor Series?
But no, see, former Minnesota Viking Brock Lesnar.
Yes. Chugging right along, Mike Zimmer said he knows who will be starting at quarterback for this Sunday's games versus the Rams, but he's not going to announce it until Wednesday. He said, and I quote, I haven't sat down and talked to anyone yet, so I'm going to wait until Wednesday. We were just talking about this before we went live. He pretty much had the media eating out of the palm of his hand, and I just love how much of a passive-aggressive jerk he can be to these guys because it's coming. It's kind of like Red Foreman. It's just like, it's not, is he going to call me a dumbass? It's when. And just waiting, like he says, why would I tell you guys?
And what benefit would it be to this team?
And did you see that Diggs tweeted loose lips sink ships?
Yes. I would be totally happy if he didn't name a starting quarterback, even though we can all pretty much guess it's probably going to be Case Keenum. Just don't.
Not going to be Sloter?
Yeah, that was my second pick.
That'll throw people off.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer's not going to get
Kaepernick.
away.
What?
If you guys haven't, if you guys in the chat or anybody that listens to this haven't figured it out, the Los Angeles Rams are for real. They're a very big threat in the NFC. The NFC's kind of stacked compared to the AFC this year, but they're definitely in contention. I definitely think they're going to be a playoff team. They might even win that division and take it from Seattle. We'll see how it goes, but it's going to be a real test come Sunday.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about the upcoming game after we do the game review, though.
Yep, those freaking Rams are finally good again. It's weird to say.
Yeah.
Mike Zimmer also said today in his media session that we need to put an emphasis on the team learning how to play with a lead. If you guys didn't know about that, we'll talk about it later. Won't get too far in depth about that. But the Vikings didn't really have to trail much in this game. Redskins got the ball first, and then pretty much after that it was the Vikings show the rest of the day. So kind of weird to say. I didn't expect yesterday for 38 points to be put up. I thought it was going to be like a 20-17 battle, but he said, hey, when we get the lead, we can't squander that. So he said that's an emphasis or a point of emphasis for later. So that's a pretty good thing to have, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Zimmer even said in the post-game locker room speech that he was proud of the way the team played, that they did have some stuff they need to clean up, and that learning to play with the lead was one of them. And that's one of my biggest criticisms of the Vikings. If you read on the Viking Age my 5 things, whether it's good, bad, or interesting, it's been too often this year that in my bad I've had to put that the Vikings still don't have that killer instinct to put games away when they're ahead. They let teams creep back in and give them a shot at the end, and that is going to bite them one time, and I don't want it to be during an important game.
I couldn't agree with you.
It would be nice if we got a lot of talent on defense when they're ahead to just put in, the final blow and get like a big pick six interception.
I mean, the Patriots were up 25 and they did a fake punt or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn
but
Patriots.
you only need 2 words for that game, and we call it Brock Osweiler. I saw a meme today that said it was the Denver Broncos because they're starting to turn.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, they need that orange is an eerily similar color to the Cleveland orange, so be on the lookout for that.
Fire Breather's asking for more of Thielen's backstory in the chat right now.
I'm gonna Google Adam Thielen stuff here in a second. Nearly 10,000 people were in attendance for Crew 52 orientation for the Super Bowl. This is basically the start of training for volunteers leading up to orientation. Volunteers are also encouraged to bring and donate winter items to the Disabled American Veterans of Minnesota. This is an awesome bullet. More than 13,000 pieces of donation clothing were collected. So that's a pretty good quick hit. I don't know who put that in there. That's pretty sweet.
I didn't write a single one this week. I had last week's.
I found that over on Vikings.com. So that was all winter gear, winter hats, winter coats, gloves, different things like that, and going to a great cause. So that is really cool.
And Crew 52 is pretty cool. They opened it up for a lot of volunteers because they're going to need a ton of people, whether it's at the stadium or events during Super Bowl. Crew 52 is a great opportunity, and I'm glad that a lot of people took advantage of that.
Yeah, Chad Greenway was at this event. I think they said there was a video by Tony Dungy that aired.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I'm on Adam Thielen's Wikipedia page, and this is going to get so good. In football, early years, he helped the Lakers to a 9-1 season, was an all-conference and all-state selection his senior year, and he was also a member of the Detroit Lakes golf team that won a 2A state championship.
He played for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes.
Before he came to the Vikings. There you go.
Detroit Lakes golf team. That's amazing.
I'd start Adam Thielen over what? Well, what's that stupid?
Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo Ball. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd start him.
I have to say this,
Ball.
I never thought this would be on the podcast. I never thought you guys would be saying it, and this is the rudest thing I'm going to say all week. Lonzo Ball has to be one of the ugliest human beings I've ever seen.
Oh, no. Oh.
Every time I see him, I just want to take my razor in here and just get him like, I'm going to fix your hair. But, yeah, he's balling out, and he makes a lot more money than me, so he'd probably just be like, hey, bro, how's that minimum wage check going for you?
Oh.
Sorry, I'm not sorry. Lonzo Ball's ugly. Next quick hit, Treadwell.
You can only get this at the Purple People podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I say that when I have a shit stash on for the month of November, too. He's like, really? Really? Sorry, the pot calls the kettle black on the Purple People podcast. Laquan Treadwell said he's not lifting as much to help save himself for the grind of the season.
Yeah.
That was weird. Didn't you guys think that was weird? You heard about this, right?
No, this is the first time hearing about it.
Have you heard about this, Adam? He said that he felt that he was working out too much and that he was lifting too much weight. Too much weight.
I'm going to side with him on this because we have crazy, stupid crap that happens every year to us. Like people tear their pec for the last 6 years in a row. And I know that's not when the season's going on. That was in training camp and stuff. But hey,
I'm not lifting as much if he's lifting absolutely crazy amounts, at crazy times. I get it. Cut back.
Mm-hmm.
But if not lifting as much was he was doing a normal amount and he wants to do less. See, I need more information here.
Yeah, it's a very vague one. Okay, Laquan. Slow, awkward thumbs up. Okay.
Don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, not sure what to do right here. So for this last one, I'm going to leave my hands up here. We're going to talk about former Minnesota Viking tackle Matt Khalil.
Oh.
He's going to face charges after alcohol was served to someone underage at his Pyology shop in Maple Grove.
Now, I've driven past Pyology a numerous number of times, and I have never stopped in. I've heard that the pizza is okay.
I've had the pizza. I think the pizza is good. I like the pizza.
But apparently he's not too good at blocking those kids from getting some alcohol.
No.
I'm just going to go.
Allegedly, because it's just charges. He hasn't been, his organization hasn't been formally convicted of anything.
I mean, it's not like it was Matt Khalil working behind the counter.
Right. He wasn't back there checking IDs.
You don't know for sure. Maybe.
He may have been. I mean, again, I don't have all that information, but it does kind of stink for the Pyology shop because it's always kind of cool to have a pizza place that was owned or is still owned by a former Vikings player. And there's a lot of cool things like Randall's. I want to go to Randall's. Former Vikings player has a restaurant. I still haven't gone to Randall's, and I want to go to Randall's.
Well, I just want to tell you guys that I have plenty of Adam Thielen notes for the day, so I'm just going to randomly throw those out there just because we were asking the chat for this. As a sophomore in 2010, he started all 11 games and was actually Minnesota State's Offensive Player of the Year, in addition to second team all NSIC South Division. pretty sure he's going to be the offensive player of the year for the Vikings because I don't see anybody taking that title from him.
He's doing pretty darn good. I like the random Adam Thielen facts we got going this show.
I do hope that he can be the Vikings' first 1,000-yard receiver since you know who.
Barring injury, he's going to do it. And I actually saw it on ESPN today. I got a little update as my phone always goes off with stupid ESPN stuff. And it said, bold predictions for all 32 teams going forward. And I was like, oh, this is going to be some random, easy thing. And I forget the female that wrote the piece for the Vikings. I just had a big quote from her paragraph. But she says, not only is Adam Thielen going to be the first 1,000-yard receiver, but he's going to do it even before the last game of the season, which I was like, pretty good prediction. He might have an up or a down game. He might have a down game here or there, but we have 7 games left, and he's got to get like 200-some yards.
Yeah, it's looking good. It's looking very good.
We'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll get ahead of ourselves, but he's on a very good pace. If I had to throw it out right now at this pace, saying that he's not going to get injured, what do you think he's going to end with? I'm going to say Adam Thielen's going to end with about 1,300 yards this year, which is crazy. But
I mean, it's not like, he has Brett Favre throwing to him like Sidney Rice did or anything like that. But, a combination of Sam Bradford and Case Keenum's definitely getting the job done.
I want to see Case Keenum coming out with like the Shooter McGavin stuff every time now. Just like, every time he throws a touchdown. Just
Christian Ponder ruined that for us.
Oh, God.
Remember that?
I forgot all about it. Now you ruined it for me.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that too, and now you brought it on back.
Yeah.
Damn you.
Thanks, Kyle. Wah, wah, wah.
Yep.
Do what I can.
All over our parade.
All right, let's talk about this game and give away a game ball and donkey. Yesterday, the Vikings traveled to the Redskins at FedEx Field. They won 38-30. Who predicted that score? Not any of us. Even the guys in the announcer's booth kind of said it like, is this going to turn into a shootout? This is not what we expected. These teams are very good defensively, but they kind of battled it out in the beginning, the first couple of drives back-to-back. But the Vikings pretty much took over. Case Keenum was the star of the show along with Adam Thielen for the first half. He kind of cooled off in the second half, Case Keenum, that is. But just to give you a little recap, they scored 21 unanswered points at the end of the second quarter into the third. Case Keenum threw for 4 touchdowns yesterday. Adam Thielen caught 8 passes for 166 yards, thus keeping his streak alive of 5 or more catches in a game, every game this year. The Vikings offense was 4-4 in goal line situations, which that's a very, very good stat. Mm-hmm. And this is probably the most odd. Not a lot of people probably knew this. This is the 9th game that we played this year. This was the 6th 100-yard rushing game of the season for us combined. Obviously, I don't think we've had Latavius Murray had a 100-yard game maybe recently? I can't remember. But
I don't know either.
As a whole, all of our backs got 100-plus yards, so that's pretty sweet. Just some little tidbits from the game yesterday. We'll give our overall impressions, but first we should give away game balls and donkeys.
Yes, we should.
I am so excited I'm stealing this one first because I've never given this guy a game ball before. And listen, if I'm being truthful, we knew Adam Thielen was going to get one. I wasn't going to pick him. Case Keenum balled out yesterday. I'm not going to give it to him. I really wanted to give my game ball to Andrew Sendejo for breaking up 2 touchdowns because we only won by 8 points. So if those 2 touchdowns go, we don't win the game. And Andrew Sendejo definitely broke up 2 touchdown passes. But David freaking Morgan caught a touchdown, and nobody thought he was going to be there for that. So David Morgan, with your awesome hair, you get my game ball this week because you don't get enough love for all the grinding that you do and the blocking and all the dirty work. So it's cool to see him get one and yesterday. And the first guy to embrace him and say, congratulations, none other than Kyle Rudolph, sharing the love. So David Morgan.
I thought it was hilarious when Teddy Bridgewater was sitting on the bench and all the cameramen were focused in on him because he was having an emotional moment. David Morgan's over there just looking at the sky, looking back and forth.
You would notice. You would notice that, Adam.
It's like, come on, man. I went defensively on this. I really enjoyed everything that Eric Kendricks did this game. I know that I've been showing him a lot of love lately with my game balls, but his athleticism, his ability to shed blocks, to break up screens, get tackles, even when he's not getting assistance on them. It's amazing, and I believe he had 10 total tackles this game, 5 solo. The one screen that he broke up, he had a loss on the tackle. Kendricks has. I still can't believe that he didn't end up in Green Bay when they had that pick and they took, I believe it was Demarius Randall, when they needed a linebacker and they passed on Eric Kendricks because they said he was too small. Thanks. I still can't believe that.
Good job, Green Bay. Thank you.
Yet they pass on an undersized middle linebacker, yet they are willing to gamble on an undersized defensive back. It's like, what? But hey, I guess that's a conversation for another time.
That is the Packers for you. I gave my game ball to Adam Thielen. Of course, he is the star of the show this week. I've got all the Adam Thielen facts going for you guys. I got his stats in front of me. 8 receptions, 166 yards, 1 touchdown. His average was 20.8 yards per catch. Holy crap, that was an amazing performance from Adam Thielen. I need to buy myself a jersey of his, like right now, because he has turned into one of my favorite players on the team. I just love his attitude, his work ethic. He's a great route runner for a player who was supposedly not fast. Boy, he sure does burn by people on the field. He's got game speed. There's a lot of players who maybe can run a fast 40-yard dash, but it doesn't translate to anything that actually helps on the field. I don't know what Adam Thielen ran for a 40.
I've got that here, and that's my next fun fact.
Okay, but when he gets out there on the field, he gets the ball in his hands. He makes plays, and he makes it happen, and he's consistent. And I love the fact that if he doesn't just get you a first down, like he will fight and get you a first down and then some. Like, that's what I really like about it. He's
yards after contact, yards after catch, very impressive.
He's a really smart player, and he always seems to know what he needs. I think there was a play where he caught it maybe 5 yards short of the first down. We needed to convert it, and he was able to put a move on, and he was able to get that first down yardage for the team.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and that brings you my bold question of the week, sir. Not bold statement. I got a bold question for you.
Bold question. Go for it.
I thought Josh Norman was elite, question mark.
Adam Thielen's just damn good.
Not only Adam Thielen, but Stephon Diggs burned the shit out of that guy.
Now, what I thought was hilarious is that the same exact thing that happened with Josh Norman during this game was almost the same exact situation that happened with Trey Waynes. Yet Trey Waynes gets absolutely slammed on social media, and everybody's like, oh, well, Josh Norman's elite. Stuff like that happens.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll talk about that play in a minute.
Random Adam Thielen fact. Thielen did not receive an invitation to perform at the 2013 NFL Combine, but he attended a regional combine in Chicago where he performed well enough to get an invitation to the Super Regional in Dallas in April. He ran a 40 in 4.45 seconds and did the 3-cone drill in 6.77. That would have placed him in top 20 in the NFL Combine.
Damn.
He had to pay to go to that regional combine as well.
Yeah.
Who on this? Who just said, no, he's not good enough?
Yeah, how?
I can't. And with all this,
he really did. We talk about him taking the long path when he got to the Vikings, going through practice squad and working his way up, special teams, then on offense. Boy, he even had to work to get to the Vikings. Nothing's been easy for this kid.
I like that Jason Tavada in the chat here says that he would give Shermer as MVP because we've been seeing some really fun, creative things on offense, taking advantage of situations real well. There was some concern of him stepping in and becoming the offensive coordinator, and so far, I think he's silenced pretty much every doubter. Also, I do want to give a little bit of extra credit, too, for Andrew Sendejo for saving 2 touchdowns with amazing individual efforts batting the football out of the hands.
Yeah, he punched whoever that was in the face, too.
That was awesome. That was good.
I'll tell you, I watched that game in its entirety thanks to Adam because he gave me the hookup. I got to watch it crystal clear. It was amazing. And I was like, look, I'm watching every little piece now. I'm watching, different guys on different plays. But Andrew Sendejo might have damn well saved the day because Case Keenum had, and we'll talk about that, after we give our donkeys. But Case Keenum was on fire, and then he had 2 really errant passes for interceptions. And I think that shifted a little bit after, those picks came around. But, God, Andrew Sandeo looked like Harrison Smith yesterday. It was crazy.
He played good. He's an underrated player for this team.
Absolutely.
We're going to get started with our donkeys, but Fire Breather in our chat already gave his away. He said it goes to Stephon Diggs for his goalpost hugging celebration.
Yeah, can anybody tell me? I know Steve Smith and I think Antonio Brown did it, but what does that symbolize? What is that from?
I don't know, but I know you're not allowed to use the goalpost as a prop. The only prop you're allowed to use in celebration is a football. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. And when we're on the topic of conversations, I'm going to give my donkey to the leapfrog celebration. I'm sorry, guys. I was not feeling it. Not only was it poorly organized and everybody wasn't in place when they started doing it, but when I was watching my TV, I've seen enough horror movies. When I see people start lining up for the human centipede, I just say, no, this is bad.
I've seen that a couple comments online, too. It's like, I thought they were lining up to do this, and I'm like, you guys.
Hey,
I'm giving my donkey.
Watch those movies a couple of times. You start to get worried when you see that, and it's like, okay, if you're doing a human centipede celebration, no. I'm
giving my donkey to Adam Carlson for thinking it was a human centipede. Touchdown dance. I don't have a legitimate donkey this week, guys.
I'm going to be honest.
I thought that you could nitpick a little bit on defense and say that I should have done this, that, or the other thing. That maybe Case got a little too excited. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But I don't know. It was a good, fun win, and I just want to enjoy it.
The same way. I had to pick something, so I went with the terrible announcers that I had to listen to for 3 hours because they made me want to put a nail through my eye. They were.
What they said though during the broadcast?
What's that?
They said we'll be in Minnesota next week.
Oh, Joey.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Greg Olson could talk over them and tell them to shut up because they were dreadful.
Not even Pam Oliver seemed like she was on her game, and she's usually one of the most solid pieces of a Fox broadcast.
She seemed very cold. Pam Oliver definitely. She seemed like she was freezing up there. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't having a good time. They were off their game. It was just a really clumsy broadcast.
But when you think about it, like I couldn't pick anybody because.
Oh, you could have. You just didn't.
I couldn't think of anyone who did awful. Like I wanted to think about Trey Waynes giving up that crazy, amazing touchdown. He was in really good coverage. It was not like he got burned.
Yeah, you couldn't have played that a whole lot better.
And then I wanted to give it to Case Keenum for making 2 retarded interception throws. They were terrible, but he had a perfect passer rating for 2 quarters, and he absolutely outplayed Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, there were enough ups where you couldn't really go after that down, even though there were some bad decisions there.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't really pick anyone, so I'm giving it to the announcers because they were awful, and I turned it off eventually. I turned the mute on.
Not like Eric Randall said for the human centiskull. I really hope we don't get them again next week, though. It was not a fun broadcast.
Nope.
All right, let's dive into the team stats. Yards-wise, it was pretty even, 406 in Minnesota to 394 for Washington. Washington picked up more first downs. The disappointing part was how Washington went for it several times on 4th down. They went for it 5 times, and they converted 3 of them after the Vikings held them to 5 conversions on 14 third downs. So while the Vikings did their part to stop the 3rd down conversions, when 4th down came up, it was a little bit different of a story. And sure, it was short yardage situations where it was like a quarterback sneak or a run up the gut. But still, you want to see your team convert those plays, especially when it's weird field positioning, when you're in a position where it's not close enough where you can trust your field goal kicker because the Washington Redskins had just brought in a new kicker, and they didn't really know a lot about him, be able to test him out. So you didn't want to kick any far field goals, but when you're close enough where it doesn't make a lot of sense to punt, I get where they were going and why they attempted 5 4th down conversions, but it's just frustrating to see that picked up, and it's usually pretty deflating for a defense when you can't get that stop after stopping on 3rd down. And the Vikings have a tendency to punt when they're in those kind of situations for field position purposes, and I think that's part of the reason, too, why the Vikings don't have a great punt average. But I don't know. Maybe that's being a little bit nitpicky with the downs. But for me, when I see a team in fourth down, I want to see as much as possible trying to get that stop. And 5 fourth down attempts, that's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't like all the fourth down conversions. Washington Redskins were playing that bullshit Madden playbook where you just go for it on every fourth down, and only they did it in real life, and it actually worked.
Yeah.
That was a little weird. It's like, well, why don't we go for it on every fourth down all the time then? They have such good success with it. You're right, and I'm sure that was a point of emphasis, a point of pride on Mike Zimmer that he does not want to be like, look, you don't convert fourth downs against my defense. You just don't. He will cut you.
It's hard enough to stop a team with 3 downs, but when they got 4, it's even more challenging.
Yeah, yep.
One thing I do want to say is that there was only 1 sack in the entire game. The Vikings kept Case Keenum upright through the game. Kirk Cousins got taken down once by Danielle Hunter. Of course, this is a game where the Vikings were without Everson Griffin, who I guess made the decision on his own to sit this game out and asked the team and said, hey, I don't think I should play this game, because he didn't want to even risk aggravating the injury and missing more time. To me, that is a really smart move.
I like that. I respect that. I think there's a lot of times that a player, Jared Allen, for example, we'll pick on him because he's not with us, will feel that even though he's injured and he's at 70%, that he's still better than his backup. But you look at, say, a Danielle Hunter, who we have as, a rotational guy, who can go out there and he can flat out play.
Yeah, when you got Danielle there as the one starter and your backup is Brian Robinson, I mean, come on.
Yeah, yep. And it's like, well, also don't risk playing at 70% and then messing your leg up further. Like, think of the big picture here. I'm okay with him stepping up and being like, nah, give me a week off here. I'll be back. I'll be good.
Now, we do all agree that this game against the Redskins was a big one. Washington's a tough opponent. You can't sleep on them. They've beaten some really good teams. I believe they just came off beating Seattle, right?
They beat Seattle in Seattle, and I was going to say we don't have success against them in Washington. I think we've lost there the last 3 times we played. It dates back to the Adrian Peterson injury. I know we lost there last year, and I think we lost there in 2012, even though we went to the playoffs. Now, they did come to us somewhere between 12 whatever, but we just don't have success there. I was really worried that it was going to continue, and coming off the bye week. But I agree with you guys. I think that was a crucial one because it's yet another NFC opponent. And with this win, fun fact of the day, because we won the head-to-head with New Orleans, we're back as the number 2 seed in the NFC because that's another NFC opponent that we beat yesterday.
And I think it's also important to remember, and you can look at this in whatever way you want to, Kirk Cousins is about to become probably the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL after this season. Some team is going to way overpay for Kirk Cousins, and he's going to make a boatload of money. And I think you look at the way the Vikings play them, they put up some points on this defense, but, I mean, did he play any better than Case Keenum? I don't know.
I'm not all aboard the Kirk Cousins train.
I'm not.
We do have Jason who says in the chat that 2014 the Redskins came to Minnesota, but we won that game. And I know that they won that game because this guy was at it.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about in the chat. We don't have success in Washington. I know that game because Christian Ponder ended up messing his shoulder up, I believe.
Yes, he did.
And, yeah, I remember that game. But that was in Minnesota, which anytime we have a home game, I'm all for it, and I think we have the advantage, which is, whenever we talk about the Rams coming up here soon, that's going to be, I think, the biggest factor, and that we would have everyone healthy again. I think, like you guys said, to piggyback on that, I'm really glad Everson said, hey, look, I don't want to tweak this because I think he would be ready for the Los Angeles game, and we're going to need him because this is going to be the toughest opponent we faced yet.
You called it, Adam. I was reading, I think, this morning and on Twitter, and it was not well, look at what the Vikings did that was so good for them to beat the Redskins. It was what's wrong with the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
That was the narrative this morning. It's every time the Vikings beat someone. It's never what we did right. It's always what's wrong with the team that we beat.
The good news, too, is earlier in the season, the Vikings tied up the all-time series against the Ravens, and they came into this game. The Redskins had won 13, and the Vikings had won 12, and now they've tied up the all-time series with the Redskins as well. So it's kind of cool to see Minnesota in these head-to-head all-time matchups getting back to even. And I know it doesn't mean a lot in the scope of things, but it's always cool to see the Vikings have at least a tie or a winning record against some other NFL teams. And the Vikings are one of the winningest teams in the NFL history. So for them to see that they had a losing record against the Redskins all time, it's just one of those things that kind of makes you feel a little bit better.
Got a question in the chat. If we beat the Rams, are we an automatic playoff team? I don't know about automatic, but if we beat the Rams, you can make an even stronger case for the Vikings being a pretty damn good team.
I have opinions on this. I'm going to give them to you right this second. There's two things we got to do. The number one thing we got to do, we have to win the division. I'm not worried about Los Angeles. We can get beat 70-0 there. We can still pull away from that. No, listen, hear me out. We can lose that game 70-0, and we can pull away from that. We have to beat Detroit the week after in Detroit.
Sure.
I'm not too much about the Falcons or the Panthers. I think our defense can slow those offenses down. And obviously we've seen our offense can put up damn near 40 points. But we have to win the NFC North. And the freaking Detroit Lions have won the last 3 games against us. And it's annoying because I think we're a better team than them. I think we just shot ourselves in the foot the last 3 times we played them. But we have to win the NFC North. But here's what I came out of, and I forget where I stole this from because I'm not that smart of a football fan. But we started the second half of the season, right? 8 games. All we have to do is go 500, and we would be 10-6. Now, I think this Vikings team is capable to be a 12-4 number 2 seed. Absolutely. I think Philly's the team to beat in the conference. But if we just go 500, which means out of the next 7 games, we only have to win 3. That's pretty good odds considering the Green Bay's without Aaron Rodgers, and we've already beat the Bears. And, we've already beat the Packers too, but I think the main focus here, everybody, obviously we don't want to – I mean, I would hope that we beat the Rams because that's a high quality.
It's a good statement game. Like the Rams are a hot team right now. They're playing darn good football. They're putting up a lot of points. It's a good statement to say, hey, the Vikings are for real, and they should be taken for real.
And the problem is that the Vikings don't get enough respect at all in the first place. Coming into this game, the critics and the experts were picking Washington to win. Yep. And they said that if Washington was healthy, this would be a no-brainer. It's like, what? I mean, Minnesota's going forward with their backup quarterback, their backup running back, their top pass rusher is out, and you guys are talking about the Redskins' injuries when they've got their top offensive tackles returning. I just sat there. I looked at my screen when I was watching this on the NFL preview show, and I was like, what are you guys talking about?
Well, that's one of the things that pisses me off, too. I was telling you guys I got ESPN updates, right? And one of the ones that said the preview, they'll do the overview of what happened Sunday, and it said the Saints and the Rams roll. This is our 5th game in a row that we've won, but we're not in the conversation. We beat the Saints head on. That's what made me mad. Now, I'm of the same belief that I think you guys are. I like it when people don't talk about us. I like us as the underdog.
Yeah, I'm kind of okay with that too.
It seems like every single time that we get ahead of steam, we had that game where we just completely shit the bed and roll around in it. And I don't want that. I don't want that this year. I don't want that at all. But, yeah, they don't talk about it. The Saints have done a major turnaround, yeah. But we clobbered them in week 1. And we have the same record, I believe, as them and the Rams right now. So I'm like, why don't we get any respect about this? But
NFL.com will release a thing. Who are the best teams in the league? And they'll have the Patriots up there. They got Philly. They got the Saints. And I don't even remember who the hell the 4th team was, but it wasn't Minnesota.
Right.
It's like, interesting.
And I always did it. That's what I said last year to defend Sam Bradford. I didn't say that he was Joe Montana or Aaron Rodgers or somebody like that, but I said, how would your team have fared if your offensive line was 29th in the league and your starting quarterback went down right before the season started? Because I think we exceeded expectations for the circumstances, all things considered. Same thing this year. You get a running back in the draft who is he's everything you could ask for. And then your star quarterback comes out and plays absolutely the game of his life, and then you don't have him the rest of the year. How many of these teams could be rolling with their backup? I couldn't even tell you half of the backups in the National Football League to begin with. And to think that they would be running, on a 5-game winning streak right now, I don't know.
Fire Breather in the chat says Minnesota never gets the love. We got Michael Crambria who says, I like the Vikings being the underdog. I think it makes them play better.
Yep.
I'm seeing a couple new names here in the chat, too. It's always nice to see the new names. Thanks for joining us.
You guys keep tell all your friends about it. I've been saying it, and we've been trying to push it as much as we can. We don't go in your face about advertising or whatever. We'll just ask politely every week. Tell somebody that you know that's a Vikings fan, or if you have Facebook or whatever, share this around and tell them to get involved with the chat because we interact with you.
Little Pump says, yes, we're on a 5-game win streak, but they're still talking about teams like the Packers winning their first game without Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
That's very true. You know what, though? You know what would shut all of them up, and it's the ultimate goal for this team? Win a Super Bowl. If the Vikings can win a Super Bowl, then the following season you get that respect level. I think it's because we all know this. We all know why the media don't talk about the Vikings. It's because every time we get close, they find some weird way to lose the game.
Yeah, so, Sean Reynolds brings up something very interesting in the chat that I wanted to talk about for a minute.
Sure, go for it.
He says, how many NFL teams would give their left leg to have Case Keenum with so many terrible backup quarterbacks in the league?
Well,
and we have seen some awful backup quarterback play.
Stand by. You guys keep talking. I'm going to get a list of all starting 32 quarterbacks, and we're going to name which team would rather have him.
Because it's absolutely awful. The Texans, watching that Texans game was so hard because it was bad. It was really bad. Brett Hundley, it's hard to it's hard to get any kind of love when you're sitting behind Aaron Rodgers and expectations are so high, but wow, just absolutely mind-blowing.
You got Denver Broncos with Brock Osweiler.
Hey, all right, let's go down the list. I had the list here from 32-1, and I can tell you right now he's going to be at least over half right now. So It's not Brian Hoyer anymore because this was written on – okay, this was in September, so we'll have to adjust it, but I can remember most on the fly. 32 in San Francisco is C.J. Beathard. I think
he had a good game this week.
He did have a good game. There was a good emotional play there. You guys should check it out if you I think one of the – I can't remember. I think it was Goodwin maybe.
And he was on the Vikings practice squad for a little bit, wasn't he?
I think so.
No, C.J. Beathard was the Hawkeye quarterback. He just got drafted.
That's why I know the name. Okay.
Yeah. I think it was like a 3rd or 4th round pick.
Oh, I was making fun of it because it looks like Beat Hard. That's right.
Yeah.
That's what his Twitter handle is, which is it's the greatest thing ever. Beat Hard. But I think that San Francisco, they have Jimmy Garoppolo, whoever else, so we'll leave that as a question mark. I don't know the gauge for Case Keenum on those guys because he did have a good game. But my overwhelming thing says yes. Jacoby Brissett in Indianapolis, yes.
Of course.
Brutal.
Deshaun Kaiser, yes, in Cleveland, absolutely. Mitch Trubisky for the Bears, I would say that he's better than Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, but in that situation, I don't think they'd flip.
No, but
McCown with the New York Jets, the Jets would totally take Case Keenum right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
God, Tom Savage with the Texans. Good Lord. Yeah. He is absolutely – he's worse than Brock Osweiler is. Good Lord.
It's bad.
Andy Dalton, yes, he's better than Andy Dalton. I don't care.
The Broncos stable at quarterbacks. Oh, my goodness.
It's terrible. Blake Bortles in Jacksonville. Blake Bortles, I don't trust Blake Bortles. I trust Case Keenum. And I don't want to give Blake Bortles any credit because the defense over there is like the defense of Minnesota. It's really good.
Yeah.
If you've never seen the show The Good Place, it's a great show, and they make fun of the Jaguars pretty darn hard. And the Blake Bortles jokes are just amazing. Seriously, check them out.
So we're at 24 right now. We're almost through 10 teams. Eli Manning with the Giants, yes, he's playing terrible. Carson Palmer's not with the Cardinals. I don't remember who's Drew Stanton.
Yeah, Drew Stanton's starting there.
Good Lord, I didn't think he was still around. Yeah, I would say probably yes. Here's where it gets questionable. We'll go down the list because there's still a couple more that I would say yes. Tyrod Taylor with the Bills.
I like Tyrod Taylor. I like him a lot more, I think, than a lot of other people do. He's a good quarterback.
Well, this is awkward because he outplayed Kirk Cousins yesterday. So Kirk Cousins in Washington. That's embarrassing. Carson Wentz is definitely in talks for the MVP of the league.
Yeah, Wentz, he's playing amazing football.
He's not going to be better than Russell Wilson. I don't think he's better than Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Cam Newton. Let's keep going down. Where is he at? Jameis Winston, it's now Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yes. I don't know if you guys saw that yesterday. The Buccaneers and the Jets at the half, it was 3-3 because both of their quarterbacks back-to-back threw picks.
Were they eating W's? No.
Oh, that was the most awkward game speech ever.
Terrible.
Joe Flacco, yes, I would take Case Keenum over Joe Flacco. He's playing terrible. Jay Cutler's not having a bad year, and then you get into the top 12. Mariota, awkward because Sam Bradford's listed up here. Trevor Siemian, Brock Osweiler, yeah, he would be better than them, absolutely. And then you get to the top 10. Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Matt Stafford, Alex Smith, Matt Ryan. Yeah, he's not going to be on those guys. But Isn't that weird? You could just randomly Google and ask, is Case Keenum better? Because some people will be like, well, Case Keenum's terrible. He's better than half of the starters in the league. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Case Keenum is a borderline NFL starter. I mean, I understand he's not going to get a ton of love. But
I got a question. Is it too early to say, because we didn't do many free agent acquisitions, is it too early to say that he was the best pickup of the offseason?
Now I got to sit and think about who the Vikings picked up.
I think it has to be.
It's not Brock?
Your boy, number 24.
No, that was a big pickup, though.
And I can go back to this article we talked about on a show previously when they did the salary cap, who they would pick, and he was quarterback number 3. Yeah, he would get him on the cheap, but they're not going to put a bad person in there. You got to go for value. So Case Keenum with the value there. But
you guys have any clue how long we're going? Because we haven't even gone to player stats or anything like that.
Oh, God, I don't even know. I have the social media question to get to, too, so we should probably knock all these stats.
All right, so Case Keenum was 21 of 29 for 304, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had an up-and-down game. The first half was brilliant. Second half, not so much. Running the football, Latavius Murray led the way, 17 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Jerick McKinnon got 32 yards on 10 carries. C.J. Ham added 1 carry for 3 yards. And Case Keenum 3 times for -1. Receiving, Adam Thielen had 166 yards on 8 catches, 1 touchdown. Stephon Diggs, Jarius Wright, David Morgan all got in on the touchdown party, scoring 1. His ball was spread around pretty well, 6 different receivers. And I've got an echo. I don't know if you guys do too.
Yeah, I got an echo too.
I don't hear it, but I'll turn mine down just a little bit.
Weird. All right, so we've got Eric Kendricks leading the way with 10 tackles, Harrison Smith with 8, Danielle Hunter, Brian Robinson, Linval Joseph, Anderson Dejo with 4. Tackles for loss, there were quite a few going on. They got to behind the line of scrimmage pretty often. Like I said, only the 1 sack. Danielle Hunter registered that one. Passes defense to Anderson Dejo with those 2 beautiful ones. Brian Robinson batted to pass down the line. Anthony Barr, Terrence Newman each got in on that party. Really an all-around solid day. There's nothing really too awful to complain about.
I had my volume down. Did we get to talk about Mackenzie Alexander at all?
We have not yet.
Ooh, that was a good candidate, too, for the game ball. If you guys didn't know, Mackenzie Alexander got his first career interception. Granted, it was it was much like Case Keenum's errant throw. Kirk Cousins overthrew his receiver and Anderson Dejo, and or maybe it was the tight end. But Mackenzie Alexander was right there, and he was ecstatic yesterday. And I was really happy for him. I'm really happy to see where he's going. He's slowly but surely, inch by inch, getting more comfortable to come in. Maybe he could be the replacement that we need. I'm not saying that we shouldn't draft a corner because we've talked about this in previous shows, but maybe he'll actually live up to the hype of that value we got him in the second round. But he got an interception yesterday. I was really proud of him.
Yeah, he was keeping that one too.
Yeah, he was. I don't blame him.
It sounds like we were getting a little bit of an echo. I don't know if we got it taken care of. Not hopefully. I'm not getting it now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was trying some different things, but was not getting a fix to it. I still hear the echo, but nothing much I can really do about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of came on all of a sudden.
All right, so let's move on to the next thing.
So the social media question, I posted it yesterday because I'm tired of being slack and not doing it, and we got a lot of response. This was kind of a cheap one because you knew it was going to be asked by the media, but to no surprise for our family here at the Purple People Podcast, you guys were overwhelmingly supportive, and we actually have a clean sweep. I asked you, since Case Keenum had the game of his life yesterday, career day, despite 2 interceptions, he had 4 touchdowns, 304 yards, 72% completion percentage, and I think he was like 114 quarterback rating, something like that. If you were calling the shots, are you sticking with Case, or are you going to play Teddy now that he's able to play? And we had an overwhelming sweep. Everybody said Case Keenum. I don't want to go through, because since we're going minus Kathy Esberg, I'm sorry. She's the one I overlooked. Put in Teddy to start now. Keenum just had a great game, so he'll be hot stuff on the open market. Wow, she's playing GM pretty good there. Everybody else is overwhelmingly going with Case Keenum. I don't know. I couldn't really think of anything on the top of my head, honestly. Like I said, it was last night. Wanted to get something going since we had the game and we were on cloud 9. But not surprised that a lot of the people who follow us here use a lot of logic, because I know if you guys go on other social media sites about the Vikings, God, I can hear it. You know, the 1 interception Case Keenum threw after 4 touchdowns, and you could see Teddy stuff on the internet. It was like, all right, cool, relax, we'll get there. But pretty cool interaction. We had let me shout out some people, and then we'll move on to this. But as always,
I like when we get lots of interaction in the
Dorian Foley, Darren Rhodes, Craig Morley, I Hate You, Paul Gruber, Tyler Fietzig, Kathy Esberg, and Stephen Osborne said Teddy as well. That's funny. He said, man, why you got to do this to me? Tommy Gunn is always in there. Said Case's 2 interceptions prevented Teddy from close up. Solid point. Shirley Hawkins, Raquel Rodriguez, and Ken Tomlin all said, hey, stick with Case. So try to get you a better one next week, guys. But thank you for interacting. That was an overwhelming response for such a short and late notice for that.
Sure.
All right, I want to give a little bit of love out to the Survival League. We had 3 strikes handed out this week. Purple Z-Man Pride and Whimsical Cat Sitter both picked the Jets. Suicidal Vikes fan did not make a pick and was eliminated this week, so we only have 13 active teams remaining. Get your picks in Tuesday.
Awesome.
I'll post it
Get 'em
on
in, guys.
as a reminder.
It is fun to watch everyone. I enjoy seeing each and every week what people are doing, who they're picking, who's going to get strikes, who's going to get eliminated. It's always a lot of fun to follow.
I want to go through something real quick to end the show for my part. I mean, we don't have to end the show right after, even though we kind of been going long. But let's talk about the Los Angeles Rams for a minute, because these guys are legit. Good God, man. I thought Mike Zimmer was going to be in the talks, and I think I forget the Heath Evans, I think his name is. He gave Mike Zimmer some love based on the circumstances this year and the winning that we're doing despite losing some players. But if anybody's going to win Coach of the Year, it has to be the Los Angeles. What is his name? Sean McVay? Is that him?
No.
He's a young head coach. They have pretty much the same personnel. They did add Sammy Watkins. I'm not sure if they lost anybody, but they did add him in the middle of the year. But Jared Goff has just been completely revamped. This offense is crazy. They've already scored in 9 games, more points than they scored in 16 games last year. They've got a really good record. I believe they're 7-2 as well. Jared Goff has a 101.5 quarterback rating over the season. He's got 61% completion, 16 touchdowns. I mean, he's throwing bombs out there to guys like Sammy Watkins. Tavon Austin's actually relevant again. And my biggest fear, besides Aaron Donald, because I think he's the best defensive player in the NFL, is Todd Gurley. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley's relevant again. He's at 754 yards through 9 games. He's going to break 1,000. He's got 7 touchdowns. This is going to be a true test. I'm not saying that I'm doubtful. I love the Vikings at home in this game. I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think this is our biggest test to date of this season, and I think if the Vikings defense plays their game, I think it's going to be stifling for Jared Goff, because just like we have been susceptible and lost some games when the quarterback gets stifled, I think when Jared Goff gets pressure like he is, and then we have a great linebacking core along with a secondary, I think we could contain these Rams. But that's going to point the finger at the offense and say, can you deliver? So This is going to be one hell of a crazy game.
Absolutely. I'm getting some bad feedback, so I'm trying to let you guys handle as much as possible.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I don't know, Smith. Turn your volume down.
Yeah, I've got my volume down pretty low. I'm at about 30%.
That's weird. I don't know if that helped or not. I'm looking forward to the game. I know I'm always looking forward to every game. It's going to be a tough test, like what we said earlier in the show. I think they can win. It's a home game. The defense is going to have to not allow the Rams to score a lot of points. I know that last week we got into a shootout and we came out on top. We don't want to do that every week because as much as we like Case, he's still a backup. So let's not put ourselves in a constant situation where we have to put up that amount of points week in and week out.
Absolutely agreed. Play strong defense.
Mm-hmm.
As many points up as he can.
Sure, yep.
Well, I'm sorry you guys are getting feedback. I don't hear it on my end, so it's probably my fault. I don't know. I haven't done anything differently, but that's all I got for the week. I don't know if you guys are ready to close it out, but just tell everybody that's listening in the chat and anybody that listens to the show later this week, just tell your friends about this. The easiest way to help us out is to put it on YouTube or take our YouTube link, put it on your Facebook, put it on your Twitter, whatever, and say, hey, give these guys a listen. You guys have been pretty excellent about being interactive, so I don't know. You guys are the greatest. We love it. We feel like rock stars getting to talk to you like we're big ESPN hotshots on this show. So thank you so much for interacting with us and giving us your thoughts. And if you have something that you think is different than what we're saying, we'll take the good and the bad. We've had people yell at us before and tell us we're stupid. We can take that too. We just love it when you guys interact and give us opinions. So thank you.
It's always great to see so many familiar faces in the chat as well as some new ones.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like we get a new person like every week or every other week. So you guys are doing something right.
Yeah, lots of new people always with us in the chat room. That is what makes it fun. I love having the live chat where you guys can ask questions and give feedback, and it brings up all kinds of different topics to talk about.
I do want to thank you guys for joining us. Check out my work on the Viking Age and over at Undead Walking. I do have some bad news that Undead Talking is not going to be around for a while. We received a community strike, which means we can't live stream for 3 months.
Well, that's
wow.
That's not going to be happening.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Why?
I'm not sure. I appealed it and I got denied, and I never got a reason. But oh well.
That's crazy stupid.
So that won't be happening for a while, but you can still check everything out over on Undead Walking, and I'm glad the Purple People podcast hasn't gotten any strikes. And if you're listening, please don't.
How would we, for all the shit we talk about, how have we not gotten the strike?
People don't take us seriously, that's why.
Well, that's good.
Thanks again for tuning in. Check us out on social media at Purple People Pod on Twitter, our Facebook page. I'm at MN Viking Zombie. If you want to talk to me on your Twitter machines, I'm trying to be more active over there because I'm not very good at it. But I appreciate everyone stopping in. And remember to stay classy, Minnesota.